Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. We are here for our second live Are You Ready webcast. My name is Marley. I'll be your student host again this evening, and I'll just go ahead and introduce myself, then you all can introduce yourselves. Again, my name's Marley. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. I am a double major in marketing and international business, and I'm a senior here. And Leanne, if you want to go ahead.
Sure, absolutely. I'm Leanne Royster. I'm the Director of Inclusive Community Wellbeing here, and my office works a lot with diversity education and issues of bias and harassment, and I'm from all over, really. I grew up in a military family, so Elon's home now.
Hi, my name is Delaney. I am a rising sophomore from Wilson, North Carolina, and I'm a marketing major.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm a rising junior. I'm a music production and recording arts major with a minor in jazz studies, and I'm from Spartanburg, South Carolina.
My name's Janai. I'm a rising junior. I'm a strategic communications major with a double minor in anthropology and psychology, and I'm from Northampton, Massachusetts.
Hi, my name is Matthew Antonio Bosch. I serve as the director for the Gender and LGBTQIA Center, which is the center on campus that promotes education around sexual orientation, gender, and gender identity. And I am from Long Island, New York, also known as Strong Island.
Great. So thanks again for joining us. Tonight we're going to be talking about the Elon community and what that means to all of us and how that plays into being a student here at Elon. Please feel free to send in questions while you're watching. You can do that on the Google Plus sidebar or using the hashtag on Twitter, Elon, are you ready? So we'll just go ahead and start off by talking about what we think the Elon community means and kind of what that means to be a part of it. So Leanne, do you want to go ahead and tell us your perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I probably have been here the longest of folks who are up here. So like I said before, Elon really feels like home to me now. It's a community that I'm deeply invested in. I care about my work with students and faculty and staff, and a lot of my daily work is really around thinking about how we make our community stronger and better and celebrating difference and thinking about the ways in which we do those. So, Elon means home and engagement of difference to me for sure.
The Elon community for me means change. Definitely, we're constantly changing, we're constantly building, and also like creating new programs. So definitely college in Elon is the place for change. So if you're ready like to change and to realize all the great things that you can do, definitely Elon is the place for that.
Yeah, to kind of go off what Delaney said, I think Elon's really big on growing and making sure that you're becoming a better person, more well-rounded. Because I feel like sometimes when we come to Elon, it can seem very homogenous and seem like everybody's the same, but you have to make sure that everyone's growing and learning about different cultures and different people and different ways of life so that everyone can be more well-rounded and make sure that they're becoming better people for the world.
I agree. One thing that attracted me to Elon and that I really admire about Elon is that we recognize our imperfections as an institution, and we try to better ourselves, and we're always like, we're not afraid to be like, okay, we're doing this wrong, so how do we fix it and how do we change it and how do we make it better? And a lot of schools are high and mighty and they're like, well, we've been here a while and we know what we're doing, we're not going to change. But Elon is kind of okay with listening to complaints and dealing with them. They deal with them very well, actually.
Elon, I definitely would say it is fast-paced. So if you're looking for a place that sparks a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, a lot of intellectual climate, this is the place for you. One semester you could be studying, you could be doing research with a faculty member to get some undergrad cred. And then before you know it, the next semester you could be studying abroad in Costa Rica. And then you might come back the next semester as a senior and then be president or chair of a student organization while you're also getting ready to be prepared, not just for lifelong learning, but also for career after Elon as well.
Yeah, I think those are all pretty interesting how all of our definitions are so different of the Elon community, and that just shows how being at Elon can affect everyone a little bit differently, which I think is a pretty cool thing that we have here at Elon. So we all mentioned words like change, difference, growing, the intellectual climate, which you mentioned. And I think that all of those things kind of tie in to the honor code, which is a strong point in like defining what an Elon student is and kind of what we all try to stand by. So could maybe Delaney, you want to touch on the honor code and how that affects your experience as a student here and how you live by the honor code here at Elon?
Yeah, the honor code definitely is huge here. It is posted in every classroom around campus, so you will know the honor code by the time you leave. But just to incorporate what I think of Elon and how it is constantly changing, since we are so progressive and innovative in our programs and our thinking and how we want to incorporate all different walks of life into our community. Sometimes people aren't as willing to accept that change and willing to change with us and not, try to rebel against all the great things that we're doing here. So definitely the honor code, specifically like respect, just respecting what's going on here and respecting all the different walks of life here, definitely is something that we're trying to do and something that we still need to work on, with respecting all different types of people, all different walks of life, and knowing that there are all different types of people here and that they all need to be respected. So that's how I kind of view the honor code and what I think of Elon.
And Leanne, do you maybe want to add in from a faculty perspective of what the Elon honor code means in that sense?
Sure, definitely. I think that from my perspective, really thinking deeply and engaging in some of the constructs that you're talking about, that you mentioned, Delaney, respect or integrity, part of living a life with respect and integrity, or thinking about what that means, particularly at such a pivotal point in development as college time typically is really thinking about engaging one's own identity and then thinking deeply about how that identity might interact with others' identities. And so you said a lot about difference and about embracing that and respecting that, but even moving beyond respect into the honor code in terms of not just tolerating or allowing for other folks, but really engaging and appreciating and celebrating and thinking about how one's own identity is at interplay with other kinds of identities. So when you're thinking about some of the terms in the honor code, like honesty and integrity, those things really mean challenging that within oneself and then being bold enough and brave enough to engage in that interaction with other folks, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it may mean exploring some things that you hadn't thought of before, challenging long-held value that you may have had. And so for me, from a faculty perspective, it means doing that both when you're having social interactions with other folks, but then also in the classroom. If you're grappling with material that may be challenging some of those things for you, making sure that you're engaging your professor, that you're engaging administration and staff around that. You mentioned complaining to us. And so I think that's one way of saying, yeah, absolutely, get it out there. This is feeling like this for me, or I want to challenge it in this way, and really the engaged learning is not just a saying, and that's definitely part of the honor code for me.
Definitely. Anything else to add about the honor code and kind of how we live by that? Maybe Chris?
I think one of the most important ones is responsibility. Taking on that responsibility to grow yourself and to grow yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, or whatever, however you want to grow yourself, and making sure you're expanding your thoughts so that you can become more well-rounded. I know I'm using well-rounded a lot, but I just think that's a very important thing about college, is coming to college, learning about different things, different people, different cultures, to become more well-rounded. So when you go out into the world, you're a more respectable person, so that people see you as someone that understands people. You're not just like, oh, this person just does this. This is all they do. You're well-rounded, and it makes you more acceptable to like jobs and just becoming more people person, I guess. I don't know.
Responsible citizen.
Yeah, exactly.
Decent human being.
Exactly.
I feel like also while you're trying to figure out what's your place as an individual, Elon really prepares you for not just the individual piece of it, but the collective as well. Mm-hmm. So if we think about, am I abiding by the honor code individually, but also what's my place in the community? How can I be accountable for my own actions as it relates to other folks as well? So if we think of the four major tenets, we've got honesty, integrity, respect, responsibility. I like to make a little acronym because that's what I do. Because at Elon, you could say, here I really rock. And I think that that's true. That is a place where you can rock as an individual, but also rock as a collective community member.
Because we're a good band.
So speaking of community, like we were just talking about, and kind of how that honor code helps create the community we have, a big buzzword here, which we've been throwing around a little bit, is the inclusive community. So maybe Matthew, Antonio, if you want to just talk about what is the inclusive community, what does that mean, and how do faculty and students play into helping Elon create an inclusive community?
Absolutely. I think for me, inclusion is across the board, regardless of whether or not your identities cross racial boundaries, religious and spiritual boundaries, sexual orientation, gender, disability, age, hometown, political viewpoint. I mean, there are things that make us who we truly are. And I think sometimes when people think about diversity or inclusion, they immediately go to identities that are seen as marginalized in some aspect, rather than incorporating the idea that we all come from different cultures, we all come from different identity backgrounds. So what I find at Elon is that it's just as important to engage folks in an inclusive community that honors folks of majority and minority identities across all backgrounds, because that's how you really move a movement. You sort of make change going forward, not by just sticking with one or two particular issues, but recognizing that all of the issues are quite interconnected and have some parallels across them. So when I think of inclusive community at Elon, I think of the ways in which faculty, staff, and students really play a role in using the identities they come from to push this great university forward and make some serious change. And along the way, maybe rock the boat a little bit. But again, you don't know what you don't know, and that's okay. So I just feel like that's a big piece around finding our own identity through the identities kind of our students who are telling us, here's where you need to be.
Jerene, do you have any insight into how students' values play a part in the inclusive community, and kind of what things we're doing on campus to support the inclusive community and make sure everyone here at Elon feels like this is a place that they can be themselves and feel comfortable?
Right. Well, yeah, when I first got to Elon, to be honest, I didn't like it. And I felt like I was very different from everyone. And I felt like I wanted to transfer. And honestly, a lot of my friends did transfer out because they felt like they were different from everyone. And it's important. I'm really glad I stayed. It's really important that if you get here and you feel like you don't fit in, to stay and find people, because there are so many people here who are so kind and willing to listen, and they want your presence. If you feel different, is really important here, because we all want to learn from each other here, and it's important not to blend into everyone else here and to be your own individual. And before coming to Elon, I didn't realize how important that was. And so if you're worried that you're not going to fit in and that you're not going to be part of that inclusive community, don't run away from it, because there's so many resources here that can really help you. So,
and to kind of go off of that, it's like, I feel like the more out of place you feel, the better you're going to fit in here, because we need people who feel out of place, because that's the only way you can make change. And that's the only way everyone can grow, is when you have people who don't think the same way that you do. You come together and you talk about things, you discuss whatever, talk about life, death, talk about your cat, your dog, whatever you want to talk about. And it's just like stuff like that just helps people grow. And that's how you make those friendships with people that you would never thought you would be friends with, and those become your lifelong friends. So
cut through the clutter that way.
Exactly.
Find the other different people, and then everyone will be more themselves.
And I think differences are really important, not only in the classroom and out of the classroom, but really in the classroom. When you have people that are different from each other, conversation is more exciting. You're able to learn more than just what the professor's teaching about, because your perspective on what he's talking about is so different than mine. And if we share those things, then I feel like the intellectual climate is really thriving in that sense, where the classroom is just, there's so much room for growth in there based on differences, but then also outside of the classroom too, and getting involved in different organizations with new and different people and really expanding what we know. I think it's pretty cool. Speaking of extracurricular activities, maybe we can listen from our students about what things we're involved in outside of the classroom and kind of how that plays a part into the inclusive community here. Delaney?
One thing I am actually a part of a planning committee for a conference for leadership and diversity here, hosted here at Elon. And that is actually through two parts of our campus, our Center for Leadership, which is one great resource here on Elon's campus, but also through our Center for Race, Ethnicity, and Diversity Education. I get a little tongue-tied sometimes, but that's abbreviated the CREED, a great resource that I use very frequently for students from all different backgrounds. And with those two organizations, we definitely combine our strengths and what we're capable of doing to create a great conference that caters to just different topics about leadership and diversity. So whether it be ageism, racism, ableism, anything like that, to come to Elon's campus and talk about that. So that's one thing I'm very involved in. I'm also involved in SMART mentoring, which stands for Student Mentoring Advising Rising Talent. It's for students who identify as anything. We have a lot of terms here, actually. So anything that we call Elanum. So that's African American, Latina, Asian, Native American, and multiracial. I think I'm forgetting something. Asian, maybe. I'm not sure. But all of those, anything in that realm. We cater to students who are incoming freshmen who might need peer mentoring from other students who identify as alumni here on Elon's campus. Like you said, it can be look very similar. All the people can look very similar here on Elon's campus, but there is a great niche of us who identify as alumni and who want to reach out to other students who identify that way as well. So it's just mentoring students who are incoming freshmen who are here in the Elon community who want to reach out and know about, social life as well as academics, just basically navigating the Elon terrain. So those are two things I'm very involved in. I will be a mentor next year and also be on that committee. So
nice. And how did you find out about those things and learn about the Creed Center and being a SMART mentor?
When you first get here as an incoming freshman, there's a lot going on. They have all the organizations pull out all the stops so you guys can get involved. So that is one thing. Actually, when I was moving in on move-in day, there was actually a person walking up and down the hallways giving out flyers about SMART. And actually that person became one of my greatest friends. She just graduated. But she actually was walking up my hallway and she said, hey, come to SMART. They had like a mixer or something. And my mom was like, hey, multiracial students and students who identify as this and go to that. So we actually went and I met I think all of my greatest friends in that one room in the Creed. So that's how I found out about the Creed. And through the Creed, I found out about Intersect, which is the conference that I'm a part of. So through the Creed is actually where I found out a lot of things and met the majority of the people, Chris included. So definitely going there, I was able to branch out to everything else.
Cool. And Chris, I know you're involved in a lot of things also that are unique here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about those?
Okay, so let's see what I'm doing currently now. I am currently the assistant drum major for the Fire to Carolinas marching band. Turn up. I am the academic council liaison for student government. I'm also the treasurer for my music fraternity. I used to be the music director at the radio station WSO 89.3. So I've done a lot of stuff. I just like to learn a lot of stuff just because I like to grow myself, obviously. So
yeah, and I think it's nice to join different organizations where you meet people outside of the classroom.
Exactly.
And people that have specific same interests as you do, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else to add on that?
Oh gosh.
Janae?
Well, I am an editor for The Edge magazine, which is the official magazine, I believe, right now of the Pendulum Elon magazine, and I also work for the core curriculum, so that's what I'm doing right now, but there's probably more on the way.
There's always more on the way. Always doing different things. So actually, during orientation that last Friday, or the first Friday of classes, we have the organization fair, which happens on September 4th, which is, I'm sure you all remember this, where all the organizations that are on Elon's campus set up on the Mosley lawn out front, and you can just go and talk to people that are involved in different clubs and orgs, see what they're about, maybe find something that you're interested in to get to know more people. I think that's a big part of the beginning of your first year in college, just meeting people and branching out and getting to know yourself and things that you're interested in. So I loved the org fair. I thought it was really cool.
I think another funny thing is that all Elon students have the whole like spring semester of their first year, all the emails that they received from fall with all these clubs that you like joined, Apparently, like you're not even talking, you don't even go to there anymore. You just like you get like 20 emails from different people. You're just like, gosh, why did I sign up for all these things? I don't even have time for this. So
And every table has like a little bowl of candy. So
Exactly.
You never know how many friendships, like you might just like have a stomach pang and be hungry, but you never know how many friendships you are actually made because you like reached for a little Hershey's miniature. And then you're in a club and now you got all these friends. And like I feel like that's a really important.
You can't just eat their candy and not
Like
sign
talk
up.
to them,
Right.
exactly. You have to.
They will contact you. They will
They'll find a
find
way.
you. You have to get about the business of narrowing it down at some point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't we talk about like different organizations and being a part of things outside of the classroom? How do we think that like that's an important part of your first year at Elon, and how does that help you join the Elon community?
Oh gosh. That is honestly joining SMART and being involved outside of the classroom is actually how I met majority, if not all, of my friends. Just meeting new people. You will always something funny that we always try to talk about is that it's so hard to schedule things with Elon students because we're always so busy. We're so involved here at Elon. It's always like 2 or 3 organizations minimum of what we're involved in. But just knowing that you know a lot of people. So you definitely get to meet a lot of new people, and you're always constantly meeting new people, even if we're on a smaller campus. So being involved definitely means meeting new people, even if and of course you'll be involved with different things and learn different, work skills and stuff. But we love meeting new people here. At least that's what I do. And so definitely being involved, you will meet some of your greatest friends outside of the classroom rather than inside.
And I think something that I've learned just from being in SGA and just like being in leadership positions is that you can make such a huge change in a little bit of time, and you can make changes that affect the entire campus. And it's just a great feeling to be like, oh, I have all these accomplishments that I've done in college, and I didn't even really have to try. It just happened, like, oh, I want to do this, and look at my resume now. So I mean, like, obviously, when you leave college, you have to go to the real world and be like a real person. But it's like nice to know that you can come to Elon and just be involved with things and do things that you love and still have things that build your resume and still make you just a better person in general. So
something I want to add is like I didn't do anything my freshman year. I wasn't in any clubs or anything. I tried a couple of things. I went to a couple of meetings, but I'm for the most part very introverted, and so I don't like big groups of people, and the org fair was super overwhelming for me, and it like really I don't like personally I can't deal with situations like that. And so I mean, but just know that once you get here, I mean, you don't just have to, if you don't get along with your roommate or something like that, I mean, you can reach out to faculty, you can reach out to people. There's always someone to talk to if you have an issue, and they can help you find other people, and you can get involved in other ways. And that doesn't mean having to go to meetings and be part of a team or a group, or you can, take baby steps like I did. And it's not, I mean, Delaney's extremely extroverted and she's great at talking and making conversation with people. She's a great tour guide, but not everyone can be like that. And there's a place for you here too. So
Yeah. I think finding that balance is really important also, because I know something I struggled with was time management. Like that was a big thing for me my first year. I wanted to just do everything or get to know as many people as I could, but then things are falling off the wagon and there's also classes that I have to keep up with. Yeah. So what sort of tips and advice do you guys have for like time management and handling that sort of thing?
Use a calendar. Oh gosh.
Yeah. Oh
like
my
my
gosh.
calendar on my phone is like blocked out every single day. If I didn't have that, I would literally forget stuff.
One thing that I highly recommend is when you go on track, there's that little checkbox. Do you guys use that? What's it called? When you there's your schedule and it's like, do you want to input this into your phone or something?
Yeah. It's like a calendar input thing.
I didn't know that was there. And it sends you an email, and you look at the email on your phone, and then you press a button, and automatically all your classes are in your phone with a 15-minute alert before each class. And it's great. Yeah,
Um,
highly recommended.
One thing about me, I would learn how to say no. I have a problem with that. Sometimes I'm like a yes person. I'm definitely like a people pleaser. I want everyone to be happy and I want everyone to, be on the same page. But learn how to say no. Learn how to say no, I can't go to the movies with you guys. No, I need to stay in and study a little bit. Or no, I just need to catch up on some sleep. Because sometimes you just need to catch up on some sleep. So just learn how to say no, and definitely they will give you a planner when you get here. Use it, use it, use it, use it, use it. Because I swear I couldn't have made it through my first semester without that thing. Use your planner.
Yeah, also learn how to take like 20-minute naps because those things
Yes.
will save your life sometimes. Like you don't understand. Like
You don't
it'll be literally go days and you're just like, wow, I have not gotten a lot of sleep. 20-minute nap. You wake up, you feel amazing. So that's another really important part about college is learn how to take 20-minute naps.
Yes.
Start drinking coffee.
Oh, yes.
I would say too, just make sure that you also reconnect with your family. I think sometimes college life in general, Elon is such a lucky place because students can come here and get involved really quickly in 100 million things. Whatever your heart desires, there's probably a club for it. And so before you know it, you're so busy doing that and classes that the last thing you want to do is come home and then be like, oh gosh, I totally forgot to call my mom or my dad or my grandma. And so making sure that you make the time to truly reach out to folks so that just to show them that you haven't forgotten about them as someone who is a family member. That's really helpful to hear from brothers and sisters and things like that.
I never called.
It is. You should call. And because it's part of taking care of yourself emotionally, all of the things that we're talking about, sort of the overwhelmingness of all of the activities to be involved in, or the challenging of difference, or maybe thinking about things differently for the first time, or reflecting. It's important to have that safe space. And so family can be that safe space, but also making sure that you just find whatever that support network is and connecting with that, whether that be something you're involved in, whether that be family, whether that be faculty or administration you've met as resources, just making sure you take the time to also take care of you in the midst of all of that. And I think that that's an important part that I would hope that we all are, believe in at Elon. I certainly do. And I find many of our offices to be safe space for students in that way. And so making sure round back with that self-care is important.
Yeah, that self-help I think is really important and something that I know as a first-year student I wasn't even thinking about. So that's a good thing to bring up. Well, that is all of the conversation that we had planned out. So we'll go ahead and answer some questions that we got during our webcast. Can you talk more about Greek life? Well, I myself am involved in Greek life. I think it's been a great resource for me to meet new people and branch out a lot more than I did beforehand. But in addition to that, I've joined a lot of other organizations to make sure I meet a diverse group of people on Elon's campus, not only to benefit myself, but also just to benefit the community, I think. But Greek life has really helped me a lot here on Elon's campus. Why don't we talk about what the climate is like at Elon for students of color or LGBTQ students?
For me, again, I basically live at the Creed. So definitely being there helped me a lot to transition because we are definitely a minority here on Elon's campus. Of course, they're trying to grow their diversity, but that's going to take time. So definitely, I know almost all of the people of color here on Elon's campus. So just having that network, I do feel safe knowing that network is there, knowing that we can rally around each other. But definitely there is a presence that is needed because it is nice to know everybody, but then if you know everybody, how big is the population itself, if you really think about it? So there definitely is a need and a presence for more students of color here, but the students of color that are here are definitely, we definitely have each other's backs. Like if something major happens, we are definitely, we all know about it and we all are there to make sure that person has support. So that's one thing I do like about it, but there is a need for a presence of more people of color here.
I completely agree with Delaney says. She basically just took the words out of my mouth. But one thing that I love to stress is also that as a person of color, I can't just go about and be blind about any other kind of marginalized group. So I like love to like strive and learn about other marginalized groups and see how can I help them, because I feel like we can't. I think Matthew and Antonio talked about this. Is like we can't just like have these separate ideas and think that we're going to progress. Everyone has to work together to get to a better place. So I think as a person of color, I think the communities all try to work together to help progress each other and not just worry about themselves. So I think that's a great thing at Elon that happens is everyone pretty much works together to reach a common goal. And when things happen, the community comes together to try and fix the problem. So.
Matthew, Antonio, could you touch on the environment for LGBTQ
Sure.
students?
I'll just say right now that for LGBTQIA students, it is booming. In the past few years, we have really jumped across hundreds of schools in terms of even our campus pride ranking. We're now at 4.5 out of 5 stars, which is massive, especially for a school of our size where we're up against lots of universities that have 60 to 80,000 students. So we've been just making a lot of progress, and I feel like part of that is because more and more students are feeling more comfortable becoming visible. They're having more positive experiences. So even in some of the student surveys we've done where we've asked students, now that you've come out on campus, how would you rate it? And students overwhelmingly say that they have positive experiences, certainly with their friends, but also inside the classroom when people share that openly as well. So that could be something that any student could come across. A student could come out, down your hall in your class could be your roommate, who knows? But I think more and more students are feeling really comfortable around that. We do have our Spectrum group, which is our LGBTQIA student organization, as well as our Elon feminist group known as Effect. And I'd say between the two organizations, we do some amazing work on campus. We've hosted drag shows. We have brought in tons of speakers, and just trying to make the campus in general just feel a lot better. And now we even have policies that help out. So like if you're a transgender student and you want your name changed on your records, we can make sure that that happens for you so that you go by the name you go by. And I think that policies like that have been really, really huge in the past 2 years. Seeing that change, I think, has made a lot of LGBTQIA students feel more comfortable. Now, does that mean it's 100% amazing for everyone? Of course not. But I think for a lot of people, they feel just very comfortable on campus. And now there's such a large network of folks. So I implore you, if you may identify as LGBTQA or an ally, we welcome allies too. We have our new student welcome coming up Thursday, the 28th of August at 5. And so we hope to see you there. It'll be in your orientation packet.
And along with some of the things that I just would hope folks will pay attention to at orientation when things aren't so great, because we're working and we have so many efforts related to diversity education and supporting identities that may have traditionally been marginalized. We want to uplift and celebrate on this campus. When things aren't wonderful, we do have a pretty robust system around reporting bias or harassment. So I guess I would just always say, please don't be afraid to speak up if something doesn't feel right or doesn't feel good. Reach out. You can report online. You can report in so many different ways. We have a whole team of process advocates, which are made up of faculty and staff across campus who might share one's identity and might be a person that you feel most comfortable talking with. And so just really seeking out and paying attention to those resources. So if there ever is some reason that something happened or you didn't feel safe or you didn't know how to approach an issue with a roommate or something that happened or you weren't sure, you needed to ask a question about how to best support someone who was coming out or how to best have the conversation about race or ethnicity or difference around that, then there's a ton of resources on campus. And so just making sure that speaking up and really being accountable for your part of making this community better, making this community safe and welcoming for all folks, that we have a great system for doing that. So, and we're improving it every year with feedback. So like Jonah said, please tell us what we can do better, because we're really, as faculty and staff, working on that in all the ways we know how.
And honestly, if you think about it, there's some things that you would never know about because you don't have everyday experiences with everyone. So like I'm personally not a part of the LGBTQIA, but like I would love to be an ally, just like up there. I'm all for it. But yeah, exactly. But like if there wasn't Spectrum, like I would have never gone to a drag show before and never had so much fun and meet people there who I didn't know were a part of that community, and just being able to just see things that I wouldn't have been able to see from where I am right now. And so when you do speak up and you help other students who won't have that opportunity to see what's going on in your life, be able to see that, and that helps everybody else grow and understand where you're coming from. So I think that's like super important. So
please talk to us.
Answers. All right, another question we have, are there any tips for incoming transfer students living off campus? I can say that there's a special transfer student orientation which happens during the time of new student orientation, so transfer students can keep an eye out for that. There's a transfer student social where you can meet other transfer students that are probably living off campus also, so I'd keep an eye out for that one also, just really reaching out to other students that are living off campus as well, so keep an eye out for that during orientation. A nice interesting question, what did you learn about yourself in your first year?
Gosh.
I have something to say. Okay.
Go ahead, yes.
When I came into Elon, I come from a very, very liberal town in Massachusetts. We're actually self-proclaimed lesbian capital of the world. So I believe Smith College is in our town. Anyway, so yes. And so, came here and I met for the first time people who are very against gay marriage because they live in the South and they, their church tells them that it's wrong, etc. And that was very shocking to me. And I thought immediately, oh, they're wrong. And I, since then, I've gotten to talk to those people who I'd never experienced before and never interacted with before. And I'd only heard about on the news or read about as those people. And after talking to them and hearing why, I still don't agree with them, obviously, but I mean, you get these new experiences and you learn from it. And that's why it's important to talk to people who are different from you, because not only are you, helping the intellectual climate of the university, but you're also shifting your own perspective and opening it up and learning about other people. And that's why it's so important to talk to people who are different than you, because it's helping you in the long run.
Yeah, I think it's important to help develop those people skills, because I had the exact opposite. I'm super liberal. I'm so far left, it's ridiculous. But my town is so far right, it's ridiculous. So I was always felt out of place, and it was just always oh, okay, sorry, I don't believe what you believe. So when I came here, I met a lot more people who were more liberal and who agreed with more things that I did, but I was able to meet people who I could talk to about things, and they understood what I was coming from, but I still had that from back home, being able to have a conversation with someone and exchange ideas and not
get
angry and not have an argument. Yeah. So that's so important, because whenever you go out into the real world, you're going to meet people who don't think the same way that you do. And it's important to be able to have those people skills to have a conversation and have an intellectual conversation where you're discussing something, you're not arguing, no one gets angry. There's no right or wrong. It's just, you're just exchanging ideas. And I think that's really important as a person.
I love that you all are saying that you're challenging difference. And I just want to say it is okay to disagree and to come from all of these different places. I love that you all are reinforcing that in your stories. It's not okay to not challenge yourself to grow. And so I think that if there's one thing I take from you all, I love that message is really coming through, because you can have that conversation and still disagree about where your thoughts or perspectives are, but you've challenged yourself. I don't know. Yeah.
Mine is actually a little different. I actually, like I said earlier, I'm definitely a people pleaser. I'm a yes person, but I learned definitely that being an individual is okay. You can't, be everyone's best friend, and you can't make everyone like you or make everyone understand you. And so being an individual and being, an outcast, it is so okay. When I say even though I'm an extrovert a little bit, I can say it I'm an ambivert or ambivert. I don't remember what. Halfway in between. Halfway in between. I actually love being by myself a lot of the time, and it's perfectly okay. You don't have to be around everyone and think the same way or believe the same things. So being an individual is something that I've definitely learned in my first year. It's totally okay. If you don't have people that respect you, you don't need respect that about you. You don't need those people around you. So definitely, and that will, being okay with yourself will definitely fish out the people that don't need to be in your life and bring in the people that do. So learning how to be an individual and just embracing it really is something I definitely learned my freshman year.
And something to kind of go off of that is also about friends, is that you don't need to have 20 million friends to be friends with everyone.
Yes.
It's really nice just to have 3 or 4 really great friends that you can talk to about anything. And then you have your other people that you might hang out with, but you don't need to have, because I feel like when I was in high school, like I was like, oh, I have this many friends. Ha ha ha, I'm better than you, whatever. Like I was just like, when then I got here, I learned that, hey, I don't need to have 20 different friends. I can have 3 really great friends who I can talk to about anything and trust in, and they're always there for you. And then you can always have other people that you hang out with. So that's something that like some people struggle with, I think, their first year, is determining if they're really your friend or if they're just someone that you like.
You're networking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
You're filling out your network.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So don't expect to find, your best friend for life that you're going to have for 20 or 30 or 40 years right away. Just give it some time. I'm a very organic person, so I like things to happen organically. Don't force it and think the very first person you meet on your very first day is going to be your best friend forever. Nah, it might happen, but it might not. So don't force it. Just let the relationships that happen here happen organically, and everything will fall into place.
Yeah. And just another question that we got, can you talk a little bit about the dorm life and what it's like to live in a dorm?
Wow.
I think you have the best experience.
I have the greatest experience. I lived in one of the traditional all-girl dorms. So traditional style, all of us are in double and single rooms, had 2 community bathrooms. So that was definitely an experience, sharing a bathroom with all of those girls, sharing a room. Again, I like my privacy, but I had a double room with a roommate who was actually very open and very just free. I love to, think she's a very free person. So definitely at times I had people in my room and I was like, why are you here? I just want to take a nap. And then at times I was by myself and I was like, this is great. So, but then there are times where I was like, oh, where's everybody at? So definitely being in a dorm, it can go left or right. If you meet that person that you are best friends with, it can be great. If you meet that person who, like me, we weren't best friends, but we were very cordial and had a great relationship, that can be also, but you can meet, your worst nightmare. You never know. So definitely it's just when you get here, you have to just go through the motions and again, let things happen organically. But I actually had a great roommate experience, a great dorm experience. I didn't open up to my hall until the second semester, but I got to know them a lot better and it was great, and had a lot of fun with them. So definitely just letting things happen and, seeing how things go.
Awesome. Well, I think that we had a really great conversation here tonight. So thank you all for all of your questions that you sent in to us. There's a few questions that we couldn't get to, but please feel free to email areyouready@elon.edu with any more questions you may have, or call the orientation office or save all of your questions for your orientation leader as soon as you get here. That's totally great too. But thanks again for tuning in. It was so nice talking with all of you, and I had a great time. And I hope that you'll visit our website, Are You Ready? And see you next time. Thanks, guys.